Well, I'm joined now by Joost Hilterrmann. He is the director of the Middle East and North Africa program at the International Crisis Group. Mr. Hilterrmann, it's good to have you with us. Is there any hope of preventing a wider conflict in the Middle East at this stage?
We should always hope, and it's never too late until it is too late. So we have still the chance to let diplomacy do its work. I think the United States in particular has the ability, perhaps the will, to impress on Israel at least, to desist from further escalation. So far, Hezbollah has not responded in kind or at the same level, and perhaps it's no longer able to do so. But what we're seeing is we now are talking about 500 dead already in Lebanon and over 1,600 wounded from the latest attacks. The risk that the conflict will engulf Lebanon and that then potentially Iran and the United States get drawn in certainly exists, and we need to do everything to prevent that.
Your group has called on the United States to push yet again for a ceasefire in Gaza. Does an end to the escalation along the Lebanese border, does it depend on a Gaza ceasefire?
So if you listen to Hezbollah, then the answer is yes. If you listen to Israel and maybe the Biden administration, the answer is no. The Biden administration, and certainly Israel, have been trying to separate what is going on in the Israel-Lebanon border from a Gaza ceasefire. But Hezbollah and kindred groups allied with Iran have made clear from the beginning, meaning last October 2023, that they will halt their escalation only in case there is a ceasefire in Gaza, because they're acting in alliance with Hamas. Now, Israel is trying to break that particular link by destroying or severely damaging Hezbollah's capability. Whether it will succeed is for now anyone's guess. But for sure that it may succeed in that, and in which case there won't be a need from the Israeli perspective for a Gaza ceasefire. But I would argue that until now, a Gaza ceasefire is the only sure way to bring down the tensions in the region.
You know, we're just a few weeks away from the U.S. presidential election. There's, as we said, there's no ceasefire in Gaza. Hezbollah says that it will not back down. Israel is fighting both Hamas and Hezbollah with no end in sight. I mean, this looks like a disaster. How much of this disaster has been made by the United States? Well,
the United States is still, whether we like it or not, the preponderant power in the Middle East, if not the world. It certainly has huge influence over Israel. But time and again, and linked to the American elections, the Biden administration has failed to use its leverage with Israel in order to restrain it and to push toward a diplomatic solution. It has favored a diplomatic solution. It has sent its diplomats to the region repeatedly. But Prime Minister Netanyahu in particular has called the administration's bluff over and again, and the administration has not put its foot down, whereas it could have. And so, yes, the United States is in a way responsible for the escalation, and it can still put an end to this if it really wants to.
And why do you think the United States is not exercising, the leverage, the influence that it could?
Well, because of the elections. And certainly the Biden administration doesn't want to stand accused among Congress and high levels of the American governing elites of having abandoned Israel, its ally. Now, it's understandable. The United States has to stand by Israel. But does that mean that it should greenlight everything Israel does? Or can it put certain restraints on its most egregious behavior that is clearly in violation of international humanitarian law? And of course, it can do that, but it is, the Vice President Harris, Donald Trump, they are too close in the key states, and Biden doesn't want to take the risk.
Joost Hilterrmann of the Crisis Group. Mr. Hilterrmann, we appreciate your time tonight and your analysis. Thank you.